were something that a lot of our holes start with a narrow top end, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we catch a lot of fish in there at 15 feet. And when we first started casting 200 rods, all they had was a double taper line, and the rod wouldn't load up till you had 60 feet of line out there. And that wasn't feasible as far as what we were concerned. So we dropped it down, tried to keep the weight the same of what loaded that rod at 60 feet, and squeezed it shorter and shorter and keep the weight the same. There's two real styles of that casting that developed there. One was one where it was kind of a line on weight, meaning that if it was an 8 weight, and you would say that the 8 weight took 600 grains or something like that, that some of our short heads were 600 grains, and at that point we would just kind of tip cast them and flick them out there. It's almost Scando in style, except for Scando normally would be termed a kiss and go cast, and ours were sustained, where it's stuck on the water first a lot of the time and then driven off. The term Skagit casting came up from Ed Ward, who is a friend and a compatriot and a heck of a fisherman and a good caster. And he developed a style of casting that suited him, and a line that fit that style of casting. A Skagit line, so to speak, like those real lines, if our total grain weight was 600 grains, a Skagit line would be 750 grains. And the whole reason for that is to be able to utilize the rod clear into the butt. And over time of playing around and experimenting, the more rod we used, the less effort it took to cast the line. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to have a 15-foot rod and use 2 foot of the tip of them anyway. So that's the basic definition of the Skagit line, is that it flexes the rod all the way into the butt. Got a lot of rods out there that do that pretty good, and some rods, like some of your great big TNTs, they feel like telephone poles in your hands, and you can rip that thing as hard as you can and stop it in about a quarter of the rod bends. And you could not build a Skagit line heavy enough to utilize the whole rod on a rod like that. So most of our rods are full flex rods in 2 styles. One is edge style, which is a progressive taper on the rod, where it's a total triangle all the way down. And